Hello there, fellow adventurers. Woo! Pardon the little stuckness in one's throat. Welcome to Adventurous Spirits. This is a weekly musical podcast that helps us all reclaim some of the excitement and magic and surprise and delight of everyday life. Help us get out of the humdrum daily tasks, things that were once exciting, maybe, and are now a little normal. And it's a joy to be here together. It is Easter Tuesday, a season of springtime and new life and renewed creativity. And whether we're feeling it or not, I welcome you here today to come together and help one another reconnect with this freshness that's all around us. This is episode number 15 today. Today's title is Adventures in Meeting People. Meeting people. I'm your host, Cortney Matz. I will be serenading you and giving you some of my own life experience, some tips for how to meet people in your own world and work through whatever obstacles may be impeding you from meeting people. And I have a little prompt for you at the end of today to encourage your meeting of new people as we are exploring the theme of adventures in human relationships. So if you are here live, and even if you are listening after the fact, I would love to hear from you in the chat or in the comments. On YouTube here, there's a live chat, and there's also comments once the recording is done. And I see all of them. I would love to hear from you on all channels. And I'm curious how confident you feel in this realm of meeting people. I think as an introvert, I generally, even though I prefer time alone, I love people, and I've had a lot of experience meeting new people. And generally, I feel very confident meeting new people, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just don't feel confident for whatever reason, and I have thought a little bit about what some of those reasons tend to be. So I'm going to hit on those today. But I'm curious if you would just tell me if it's in your mind right now, if you have an answer for that question. How confident do you feel in the realm of meeting people in general? And if you don't know or can't be bothered to type it out, that's cool too, but just have it in your own mind as we go into today's adventure. Adventurous spirits, here we are. I think a lot of times we long for more adventure than we actually experience. So that is our activity today, is to help one another get into it, to access the adventure. So I'm going to start us off with a song called Here. It's off my album Mystery, which is all about kind of grappling with the mysteries of life. Look out the window, stare at the morning light. Hundreds of daydreams flashing beneath the sky. When everyone in life wants something real, can you imagine how that would feel? Well, I don't understand, but something's happening here. to start. Well, I don't understand, but something's happening here. Turn the years forward, suddenly it's all new. Look at this family, all that he's brought us through. Looking back from here, everything's changed. I've never been so proud of my last name. Well, I don't understand, but something's happening. I don't understand. No, I'll never understand, but something's happening here. Oh, so glad it happened here. So I wrote that song about a very specific situation, not involving me. I actually was inspired by the script for a film that I was helping produce back in 2010 called For the Glory. And it just struck me how there are times where you just never really know where a person that you meet, where the trajectory of that meeting is going to take both of you. In this particular instance, it was a budding romance, but I think there are lots of people that we meet that later become really close friends, or business partners, or just people that connect us to a larger community that we might not have gone into with any of those expectations. So I just played it for you to give a little sense of the possibility of what may come from just a chance encounter, from saying hi or complimenting somebody's hat. You know that everybody that's in our lives now, there was a time where we first met them. Even the people in our families, we didn't always know one another as well as we know each other now. So, new people, there's a potential, right? It's not too cheesy to presume that some new acquaintance might become a fast friend or a slow friend or something more. I think many people in my life now are people that I made it a point to get to know. Some of them I was thrown together with, and rather than just sort of coexisting, I was like, okay, let's move past the barrier of unfamiliarity and just try to know one another more. And the more that you have in common with somebody, I think the more you feel open, and there's that bond of trust that gets built over time. And it's difficult to really foresee that in the moment. Sometimes it just feels like, this is a stranger. And sometimes they're really quiet, or sometimes you're really quiet, and it's like, this is going nowhere. And I have definitely experienced that. Some of my best friends I've met because they needed a ride home. And there have been many years of my life where I was sort of the designated carpool driver. And it's happened enough that now I seek that role, because there are so many good conversations that have come out of just being in the car together for 20, 30, 40 minutes. So let's check in with our chat. I see Steve has joined us in the chat. Welcome, Steve. He says, my confidence in meeting new people depends on the circumstances. Yeah, I would agree with that. I find it works best with a buffer, a situation with a few people I know already and a few that I don't. That sounds ideal. If I could set up a space for me to meet people, that would be my ideal setup. Secondly, he says, socializing with the people I know makes it easier to branch out and meet new people, especially if there's someone who can introduce me. Yeah, when you have that formal, like, oh, here's Steve. Steve, meet Cortney. You have this in common. Or here's how I know both of you. That also is a good opening question. How do you know Steve? How do you know Cortney? I will say, by and large, I have comfort zones when it comes to meeting new people. I can be friendly while waiting in line with strangers. I can be friendly when someone's asking for directions or looking for tourism tips around Hollywood. That happens sometimes. I'll be walking through Hollywood Boulevard and someone will say, do you know where the Chinese theater is? And then that can lead into a very easy conversation. It's different. I don't feel like I'm meeting someone necessarily. I'm just helping out a stranger. But there are times where it feels more vulnerable to meet somebody. And I will say one of those is at a party. When it's like a designated fun zone and you're just supposed to have fun, like unstructured fun. I'm just like not as strong in that area. I don't really know how to just be fun or to have fun sometimes. I can get there. I can be the one who starts a game. I can be the one who dances to the music and invites everyone else into the, what do you call it, the bunny hop or the conga line. I can be that person, but it's not my go-to. It's not my initial way of being. So lo and behold, a couple weeks ago, I'm at a party. And I'm like, I don't want to be as uncomfortable as I feel right now. What can I do? How can I embrace this new adventure surrounded by people that I do not know? There were a handful of people I knew, but we were dispersed. And I did have a couple situations where someone I knew introduced me to someone I didn't know, so I'm very thankful for that. You know who you are. But there were also just a lot of people who knew each other, and there I was, feeling like I don't want to just sit in the corner and watch people have fun. I want to get into it. So how can I do this? So here are a couple things that I figured out from that night. And if you resonate with any of these, let me know in the comments or in the chat. So the first one is to just be busy, to find something to do, and that still circulates you among the people. And for me, I love to take pictures. I don't always take really good pictures, but I like doing it. So, this was an event where people were largely dancing, hanging out, getting drinks from the bar, having chats, having big conversations with lots of emotion and, big hand gestures and stuff. It was kind of noisy in there as a crowded bar. Another thing that is not my favorite as an introvert, because I'm not very loud. I'm naturally quite soft-spoken, so I have to really think about exerting myself to be heard. So I just went around taking pictures, and if I captured a cool moment, I would go and show the people, and that sometimes just drew me in. Another little tip is a lot of times these are not confidential conversations people are having. They're just kind of loosely chatting and observing what's happening, catching up with one another. So they don't mind generally if you just join them. Just be like, hey, do you mind if I join you? And as an introvert, that can be really nice because there's no pressure on me to think of something to say. I'm just listening. And if I am inspired by something that is already said, to kind of chime in or be like, oh yeah, then it's like an easy way to just be part of something. Another thing that I like to employ is the compliment introduction. This can also be good when you're not in a crowded party scene. When you're just standing in line at a coffee shop or at the grocery store. If you're trying to meet somebody, just be like, oh, I really like your shoes. Or that's a cool hat. And then usually the person will respond by telling you where they got it. A lot of people like to explain that they got a great deal at Ross or something. And it's like, oh, I found it for $5, you know? And that just can kick off like a fun, lighthearted, chit-chatty conversation. And I will say one thing about chit-chat. I have met a lot of people in my life that say they do not like small talk. I totally understand that. Small talk can feel very frivolous, like a waste of time, but I challenge you. It's really hard to get to the big talk without the small talk. If you just dive right into a new acquaintance with all of your serious thoughts about life and the world and, you know, politics, it's tough. You got to establish some trust. You got to establish a bit of rapport with a new person. Even an existing person that you already know, it's really tough to just dive right into that kind of a conversation. First thing, most people need a bit of a warm-up. Let's have a warm-up chit-chat talk. What do you think? Agree or disagree? I'm willing to be wrong on that. One last thing before I get into the next song, you know, there's nothing wrong with just saying, hi, my name's Courtney. What's yours? You know, do you live near here? How's your day been? What's your life like? Or tell a story. My go-to when I'm meeting people is to ask a question, but sometimes that can feel more like an interview, and it can put someone on the spot, especially if they're not much of a talkative person. So if you just start off with whoa. That's what I meant to play. I don't really have a great example of that. I'm trying to think, what do I mean by starting off with a story? But maybe you have like a fun anecdote that you like to tell at parties. There's a whole genre of stories that are just like party anecdotes, things to share that are mildly amusing that might kick off a conversation. Might even be something like, how are you enjoying the party? And, you know, that could be tough to answer truthfully, especially if you're not having a great time, if you're having a hard time meeting people. But it's best to put a lighthearted spin on it. Like, I am learning to embrace the challenge of stepping out of my comfort zone and meeting some strangers. see. Steve says, most of my friends say they hate small talk, but I love it. If you start with the small talk, it can lead to all sorts of bigger conversations. Yeah, I agree. You might have to be kind of intentional about it, but it is cool to realize, oh, we're talking about stuff that really matters. And it started with an observation about this song that we're listening to. But I think all of this is motivated by kindness. Anything that you do with the intention of reaching out to a stranger or showing interest in them and inviting them into your life, or just a little bit of your life, it's kindness. And you know what I have said in this song that I'm about to sing you? Don't underestimate the power of kindness. Walking down the street today, heard a stranger stop and say, let me get that. Held the door as I walked in a city crammed with people who made me feel seen. Don't underestimate the power of kindness. A little boy comes late to school, gives the teacher a handful of dandelions, fingers covered all in mud. But I can tell you, boy, does she feel loved. Don't underestimate the power of kindness. Ooh, kindness. It may not be an act of bravery or strength, but kindness changes ordinary every day. Everybody needs a gentle touch from grace. 'Cause people come and people go. Maybe we will never even know their names in a casual exchange. But every minute counts when your life is changed. Don't underestimate the power of kindness. I cannot overstate the power of kindness. Don't underestimate what you can do with just a word or two. I hope you're getting some ideas. I think a lot of the time I don't have much of an eye towards meeting people. Like, I'm not trying to necessarily say, oh, you're gonna become a new friend, let's stay in touch. But I think that's one way that I want to challenge myself this week, is to go beyond chatting with an acquaintance or a stranger, and maybe look for an opportunity to make a new friend, or at least take the first step towards making a new friend. And I'm not sure what that step might be. Maybe it's different in every situation. Do you have any examples of that from your own experience, where you got to chatting with a stranger and you thought, hey, let's stay in touch, let's follow up about this? then you became friends or went out or just got connected into another community through them. I mean, the possibilities are endless. I can't think of any examples in my own life, but I'm curious. I always love meeting people. I'm always want to have more friends. So I'll come back next week and tell you how it went. Also, you can join the Facebook community and weigh in there. Talk about what are your own goals where it comes to meeting people or making friends. What are you learning about yourself as you meet other people? Well, if you're having a nice time listening in, I hope you'll give this episode a like. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You have to subscribe anyway in order to leave comments or comment in the chat. That's my one tiny little defense against trolls. Because it is not fun to do this when you have people heckling you in the chat. But so far, everyone in the chat who is subscribed is very nice. So I appreciate that. Thanks for being nice to me while I'm on here sharing my soul and singing to you. So we will be back here in a week. Tuesdays at noon is when this little podcast happens. And you are welcome to join live if your schedule allows. And if it doesn't, join anytime. The podcast will hopefully go out tomorrow. Last week I completely forgot until Thursday to put it out on all the platforms. But yes, YouTube, it's definitely on. So one tip that I got that I still continue to utilize, but I forget about it on occasion, is that if I'm going into a situation where I know I need to socialize with new people, or where I know I want to meet some new people and I'm not really feeling that confident, put together a playlist. Give yourself a little personal pep talk playlist that has a few songs on it that just make you feel good and make you feel like you and help you remember how great you are, for lack of a better phrase. But something you want to, makes you feel a little more giving and generous, like you want to share with the world. And I have recently recommitted to building that playlist. Another helpful thing sometimes can be affirmations. Just help yourself remember what it is that your goal is going into this new environment. You want to have fun, you want to make some friends, you want to bless some people with your presence, and to remind yourself all that you have to give. What are your strengths? And if you so choose, this song may go on that playlist of yours, your personal pep talk. I wrote it for my friend Flo because this song makes me think of her, but every time I play it, I feel good too. So it's called Glow. And all of you glow out there, you beautiful people. Who's that lady walking down the street? Who's that smiling straight back at me? She's a queen, honey. Standing tall, a song is on her lips. heaven made her just for this, to be queen, honey. Times singing their songs, spinning their rhymes. A woman of worth is the salt of the earth, more than just vital signs. Life is hard and we get hit with it, frustrated, jaded, wrapped up in it. I'm here to tell you I can't keep up with it. Just be who you are, you don't have to prove it. You're becoming a star, honey, just glow through with it. Glow. You're a star in the making, glow. Dawn is breaking through, it's making you glow. Yeah, you glow, girl. You glow, guy. Glowing, I think, is a natural result of encountering the world with fresh vision, fresh perspective, being delighted with what you see and feel and find. So I just want to encourage you as you go out today to welcome in the new experiences. When stuff goes differently than you planned, just say, wow, let's have an adventure. It also just comes out of who you are. You don't really have to try. Just enjoy who you are. Even when who you are is annoying to yourself sometimes. I definitely get there. So for this week, I've told you what my plan is. I want to meet somebody. I want to meet a new person, just anyone. Take it a little bit beyond just the, hey, how's it going, to actually connecting with them and having an opportunity to potentially form a friendship. So I want to encourage you to do the same. Just look out for a chance to meet someone, even if you don't wind up doing anything out of the ordinary. What if you went into this week saying, I wonder if I'll meet a new friend? How do you feel about that? us and discuss it on the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/adventurous spirits. I will never get tired of inviting you to come and talk about whatever adventures are happening in your life, or whatever adventures you aspire to that have not yet happened, because it's more fun to do this stuff together. And you see that we're all kind of on our own path, on the same journey. And it's more fun to learn and explore together. I also want to encourage you, if you'd like to support this podcast, I am writing new songs all the time. I am creating opportunities for people to connect and to become friends, to meet one another where they are. Go ahead and mosey over to patreon.com/Cortney Matz to find out what I'm up to there and get in on it. Join me on the journey. But until then, I hope you have a wonderful week full of new experiences, fresh perspective. I wish you joy on this particular path of your journey. I hope I'll see you next week, next Tuesday at noon Pacific time. I'll be here playing music about our adventures in human relationships. Nail the landing. That's always my goal. All right, everybody, have fun out there. We'll see you next time.